Cab Rides. This is Hassan Shirazi. I have another special car for you. I am sat behind the wheel of a Porsche 911 Carrera Cabriolet, the 992 chassis. This is the 8th generation of Porsche 911, the same legendary and classic car that has been made since 1964, if I'm not mistaken, with the first generation that was introduced. This car is very special because Porsche has always been a company that focuses a lot on performance, being a classic car, especially the 911, going back many generations and many variations of it. And we've always wanted to have the Porsche 911 represented in our channel, and today we got a chance to do so. Special thanks goes to the owner of this car that let us do this review of the car. If you're new to this channel, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's one of the ways that gets our channel growing. And I truly hope that you enjoy this episode. This is the first Porsche that we're featuring in our channel. We also have plans for a very rare Porsche 993 1998 Carrera S to be featured in our channel. Hopefully that is coming soon. And we never know, we might have some Turbo S, we might have a GT3. That's something that could be in the future. But in the meantime, I hope you really enjoy the review of this 2020 Porsche 911 Carrera Cabriolet. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit more about this 2020 Porsche 911 Cabriolet or convertible. And this iteration, this is the latest, the 8th generation of Porsche 911. This is called the 992 chassis. Before doing that, let's give you a little bit of history about the Porsche 911. Porsche 911 started being made in 1964. It was a replacement of Porsche 356, and this project was spearheaded by Ferdinand Porsche. Now, there's two more Ferdinand Porsches. One of them was the father of this gentleman that designed 911. He actually designed the Porsche 356. And his father, another gentleman named Ferdinand Porsche, he was actually the person that was one of the lead designers of Volkswagen Beetle. Yes, the people's car. So you can see some of the similarities of the bug eyes that you see on Volkswagen Beetle translated into Porsche 356, and then that's also translated into the Porsche 911. Now, Porsche 911, throughout this 8th generation that you see, this is the 8th generation, has been through a lot of evolution, but not so much as revolution. Porsche 911 was first started being made in 1964. The original body style was codenamed first 901, but due to some copyright issues with Peugeot, Porsche had to make their cars a 991. So you had the 1964 all the way to 1973, then 1974 all the way to late 1970s. That was the G body style, or 930. Then after that, we had the Porsche 964. And then after that, we had the Porsche 993, which also has a nickname as the last true Porsche. And it was the last Porsche of having air-cooled engine. Then after 993, a lot of folks don't like the next generation, which was the Porsche 911 996. 996 because of its design of its headlights and also going into being water-cooled. And it didn't get a lot of Porsche enthusiasts appreciating it. Thankfully, the next generation of Porsche 911, codenamed 997, that replaced the 996, reverted back to Porsche's original conservative designing, and mainly the eyes or the headlights, which are bug-eyed. And that body style also had the first introduction of their PDK transmission, which is their automatic transmission, that in this latest generation, the 992, it is extremely fast, efficient, and we'll talk about that to you a little bit later on. Now, the body style that replaced the 997 was called the 991. And that actually ran through several years, and in 2015, it had a mild refresh. Some Porsche enthusiasts call that 991.2. And this body style that came in 2020 is basically the same size as the 991. However, it is wider. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this 992 generation of 911 and why Porsche might have just made the best 911 in the 60 years of making the 911. All right, guys, let's talk about the engine of this 992 911 Cabriolet. What's surprising about this generation of 911 is that when you want to access the engine, you're only given one option. There's this little cover that electronically comes up when you push on a level, and then the only thing that you see, two fans that cool down the engine, and also the oil and coolant cap. That's all you see that covers this 3.0 liter flat six engine that pumps up 385 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. Now this car does 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, and it's made it into a 8-speed PDK automatic transmission that is extremely fast shifting, and the top speed of this car is 182 miles an hour. And if I'm not mistaken, the weight of this car is about 3,400 pounds, which is very, very good numbers for this entry-level Porsche 911. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit more about the wheels and brakes on this Porsche 911 Cabriolet, the 992 chassis. This car comes with 19-inch wheels in the front, wrapped in 235/40 Pirelli P0 tires. In the rear, the car has 20-inch wheels. They're wrapped in 295/35 tires, same Pirelli P0. The car also has 13-inch rotors in the front and in the rear. They're also cross-drilled for better dissipating the heat so your brakes don't overheat, and they're held by 6-piston calipers in the front and 4-piston calipers in the rear. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit more about the overall design of this Porsche 911 Cabriolet, the 992 chassis, or the 8th generation of Porsche 911. You see a very, very nice and classic and evolutionary design of the Porsche 911s that is also demonstrated in this generation. The front compartment, or the front trunk or frunk, is very similar to those previous generation of 911s, ending in a very nice flat line with the Porsche crest proudly presenting. Then you have this really nice and modern 4-dot LED headlights. Then the daytime running lights can also turn into turn signals if you need to turn them on. And coming down, you got really nice and simple front bumper. Then on both sides of the front bumper, you got these little ducts that suck in air to cool down the radiator. You have a radiator here and also a radiator on the other side. Moving on the sides, you got this very, very nice, wide and beautifully sculpted profile on these wide fenders, both in the front and in the quarter panels. It's just absolutely pleasure to see something like this on this Porsche. You got the 19-inch Porsche wheels that we already talked about with the Pirelli P0 tires. Really, really nice side profile with these sleek modern mirrors. And Porsche of this generation has a electronically pop out door handles, and this one obviously is a cabriolet, which means it is a convertible. Again, very, very beautiful lines to the back of this car. All Porsches of this 992 generation have the wide body. You got the 20-inch wheels in the back of this 992 911 Cabriolet. Very nice LED headlights, and you got this nice light bar that is going all across this car with the word Porsche 911. Now, one thing about the back of this car, when you come here, some people may choose not to have the letters 911 printed on the back. So Porsche came up with a little ingenious way to tell you that this is a 911. Your center brake lights are two vertical lines that kind of resemble two ones. So 1 and 1. Then if you count, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 911. Same thing on this side. So that's pretty nice and neat from Porsche. And this car has dual exhausts, and the exhaust makes a nice glorious sound, especially in the sport mode. Take a listen. Okay, guys, let's talk a little bit more about the interior of this 992 911 Cabriolet. The owner chose black against beige for the color theme. He wanted beige seats and door cards. These are heated Napa leather seats with 8-way adjustable seats. They're very nice and comfortable. They got good side bolstering and lumbar support, as you see. This vertical dash that you see is the same theme that Porsche has been doing on the 991, the 993, to a certain degree as well, 964, 930. Porsche likes to perfect whatever they had on the previous generation. They don't like to do too much of revolutionary design, but they rather evolution of what they already had. The 10.9-inch navigation system is very intuitive. You have a very clear resolution for this navigation system. Then you also have your media you can pick. You can have your phone adjustments. Then you have different options for your cars. These are the drive modes. This new wet mode is actually a new feature, and that we talked about already. Then you have your normal and then sport mode. The exhaust and the way the transmission responds is obviously different in the sport mode. Then you also have your normal and sport chassis, and you have your spoiler that you can automatically raise it or lower it. More advanced features of the climate control can be picked through this infotainment screen, or you can come down here and you can do the basic stuff, auto, adjust the temperature both for the driver and passenger. This is the dual zone automatic climate control. The gear shifter of this car is very small and unique. It's about maybe 2 inches. You also have your park and manual control. If you want to change the gears with the paddle shifter behind your steering wheel, you can certainly do that. I like how this area of the gear shifter is actually raised a little bit. It's really interesting. Then coming down here, this is how you raise and lower your convertible, and we're going to show it to you. This is a one-touch button that you press and all the windows come up and come down. Obviously the heated seats, and you can have your parking here as well. The gauges of this car are similar to what you have been seeing in the previous Porsches. You got 2 7-inch digital screens that you see here surrounding this analog tachometer right in the middle. You have a clock right here. You have your speedometer. You have your odometer, and obviously have the analog tachometer. Then you have various things, information about your trip and whatnot. Then you have your fuel and your coolant temperature. Everything is nicely laid out. The steering wheel of this car is very nicely laid out. It's very simple. It's the same steering wheel that was used in the Porsche 991 GT3. This right here can check different things, features on your car, trip, navigation, tire pressure and whatnot. This other one is the volume of the car. You can turn it up and down. Then behind the steering wheel you have your paddle shifter plus, and on the opposite side is the minus when you downshift if you want to put it in manual mode. So I'm going to get in the back seat of this Porsche 911 Cabriolet. You have to pull that level, and you actually do have 2 seats. This makes this car unique in the sports car segment, because by having these 2 seats you can even bring your children on a ride with you, and this makes this 911 Cabriolet a more reasonable and practical vehicle to purchase over its competitors. Alright, driving this 911 Carrera Cabriolet is absolutely fun. It's an opportunity that I've never had before. I have never driven a Porsche before, but as an automotive enthusiast that has had many German cars like Volkswagens, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, that especially the one that I've showcased in this channel, my 97 C36 AMG, I've always been a big fan of German cars. Now I have a little bit of bias towards manual transmission. Unfortunately, we're not seeing too many of those, but I've always really liked German cars, and Porsche being one of the class leading brands in making sports cars, and the way they make it. I mean, if you look at the design of this latest iteration, the 992, compared to the 63, 64, 911, the original 911, or the G body which came afterwards, the 964, 993, I mean, you name it, 997, 991, and then 992, or you know, even with the updates, they have the same profile. You see the under roof line, also the hood is kind of flat that you see. The headlights are kind of raised and kind of look like bug-eyed. So they, except the 996, obviously, that's the Porsche, the Porsche that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. Hopefully we get a chance to cover one of those guys. And the design of those, actually, a lot of people have forgiven it. It's a different type of design for different people. This car is delivering some good numbers for only having a 3-liter flat six, 385 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque. It does a 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. It's a 2+2. You can put 2 kids in the back if you want. So it's kind of ideal for a smaller family. This one in particular is convertible, so you can enjoy some of that good sun, especially that we get plenty of it in Southern California. These cars keep their value really good, especially during these times that we're not having a lot of microchips to be put in the cars. And it's just a very nice car to have and drive. Now we're going to take it a little bit on the highway. We want to see how it performs. I put it on regular. I can put it on paddle shifter. I'm going to switch it to manual. So the manual. Whoa! Oh my God, that's amazing. Woo! And I set it on sport. Wow. Bravo. Porsche has done a great job. I'm going to give it a little bit a downshift and an upshift. Wow, that's amazing. All right. Yep. The transmission is spot on. I'm going to put it back on the regular drive. Transmission is spot on. Absolutely amazing. Porsche has been making 911 since the 60s. They've made over 1 million Porsche 911s. Even at one point that Porsche 911 was kind of threatened to be axed because of the introduction of the Porsche 928. The 911 still, the people that bought it, the previous owners, and the future people that were in the market for 911, they kept this brand going, this iconic model lineup. Porsche also went through some financial difficulties in the early 90s. I believe right about as they were introducing the Porsche 993, the one that was introduced in 94 all the way through 1998, if I'm not mistaken. They went through so much financial troubles that they had to do some work for Mercedes in their joint collaboration, Mercedes E500. And also they did a joint collaboration with Audi in creating the Audi RS2. This brand, this 911, this is on its 8th generation. It is not going anywhere. Porsche keeps making the 911. They're doing a little bit of evolution rather than revolution. They're not trying to do anything really drastic. I know in the 996 they kind of went out of the box with the headlights and the profile of the car, and then they got right back in the same formula because they listened to their customers, their enthusiasts, and they got back to the basic formula with the introduction of 997. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Rad Rides, covering this beautiful and iconic car, the Porsche 911 Cabriolet 992 chassis, the latest iteration in night blue with the beige and black interior. We can't wait to do more reviews on other Porsches, especially the one that I've been really eyeing, the 1998 Porsche 911 993 Carrera S. That's a rear-wheel drive with a 6-speed manual transmission. And who knows, maybe in the future we have a chance to do more reviews on other Porsches. Hopefully we get a GT3 for you guys, or a GT3 RS, or maybe even a Turbo S. Who knows? Until next time, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's one of the ways, guys, that gets our channel growing. And we can't wait to give you more reviews on cars that is coming in the future. Until next time.